Welcome to another video. This is JC Diaz. This episode of JC Diaz Uncensored is brought to you by no one. Just me, no sponsors. I need you guys to pay close attention to what I have to say today in this video. I need you guys to pay close attention because this is a serious matter, and I need you guys to pay close attention to this. We better get prepared because we will be going to World War III. We will be going to World War III, and I'm going to explain myself once we come back. So let's go ahead and start this show, and we'll be right back.
Policy question. How much money are you thinking of giving people in Greenland to get them on board with a possible U.S.
I'm not talking about money for Greenland yet. I might talk about that. But right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. Okay? I would like to make a deal, the easy way, but if we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way. And by the way, I'm a fan of Denmark too, I have to tell you, and they've been very nice to me. I'm a big fan, but the fact that they had a boat land there 500 years ago doesn't mean that they own the land. I'm sure we had lots of boats go there also, but we need that because if you take a look outside of Greenland right now, there are Russian destroyers, there are Chinese destroyers and bigger. There are Russian submarines all over the place. We're not going to have Russia or China occupy Greenland, and that's what they're going to do if we don't. So we're going to be doing something with Greenland, either the nice way or the more difficult way. And by the way, and NATO's got to understand that. I'm all for NATO. I saved NATO. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have a NATO right now. But we're not going to allow Russia or China to occupy Greenland, and that's what's going to happen if we don't.
And we are back. Thank you for being here with me. And to my subscribers, I want to say thank you. We are up to 358 subscribers. And I want to say thank you. And I want to let you guys know I will continue to bring great content for you guys, and thank you for your support, and let's continue growing. Go ahead and hit like, share, and subscribe if you like this video. And again, my name is JC Diaz. So World War III, I want to talk about this. If there is one thing that I've learned, and I find this amusing because I've never met the president in person. I wish I could meet the president in person because I have a few questions for him. But I have never met the president in person. But the one thing I have noticed about the president is over the years since he first became president, right? I've learned to read his behavior and what he's trying to tell us without telling us. And I'm going to explain myself, okay? I've become an expert in reading Donald Trump's or President Trump's mind. So typically when the president has something that is coming up, he will give us little hints. And I promise you, if you ask him that, he'll probably say yes. He will give us little hints, little clues. It's like when somebody wants to tell you something, like when somebody's having a birthday surprise party, right? For someone, and that person, someone is in charge of keeping that person entertained. so that, whoever is preparing that surprise can take care of everything. So, get the decorations ready, order the food, get everything prepared. Meanwhile, this person is in charge of keeping this person ready so they don't know. But sometimes that person who is in charge of keeping this person occupied, it's like, man, I would love to tell him or I would love to tell her about the surprise, but I'm not supposed to. So that's kind of like how our president is. He's usually, and I know this, I know it, I can feel it. He's usually is like, man, I wish I could tell the American people right now what's going on. So I'm just gonna drop little hints here and there. And the reason why I'm saying this, right? The reason why I'm saying this is because, when the Nicolas Maduro situation in Venezuela, before it happened, the president kept dropping little hints, little clues, little hints. He kept talking about Venezuela. He kept talking, if Maduro doesn't watch it, something's going to happen. Maduro kept going at him. He kept going at Maduro. And meanwhile, while he kept giving us little clues and little hints, they were getting prepared. He said it at the press conference once he got Maduro, like once we took Maduro out of power. On the press conference, he said it. He said it took a few days and we were not ready, but we were waiting for the day that we could be ready to go and take him, right? So he kept giving us little hints, little clues. And I've learned to read our president's mind. Believe it or not, I've learned to read our president's mind. Now, why am I talking about World War III? I'm going to explain to you why. Greenland. He's been talking about Greenland now, almost the whole year from when he first came in as president. He's been talking about we need Greenland on our side. And if you guys understand the geographically, Greenland strategically is like, will be a dream come true if America can get it. If we could get Greenland, it will be geographically a dream come true for us. Think about it. We already have two oceans, right? We have two oceans, right? Surrounded. And if we can get Greenland, this will position us geographically. We will have another canal that goes in between Greenland and Canada. It goes in between. That will be another way that we can transport goods and whatever we need to transport. We will open another route that we can use. But mostly the geographically interest that we have in Greenland is actually for defense. We would rather as an empire. Remember, in my last video, I talked about three empires. Right now is Russia, the United States, and China. And all three of these empires are trying to consolidate themselves by expanding, by taking more land, pretty much, because land is how empires consolidate themselves. The more you own, the more you can extend your empire, the stronger you become. So if you think about where Greenland is geographically located, and if we can get a hold of Greenland, it will be a huge accomplishment for the United States as an empire, because we will literally be right next to, or we will be literally, if you look at the map, we will literally be right next to Russia and right next to China. Meaning not right next, because the planet Earth is big. I'm talking about geographically. That will be our front to Russia and China. If you look at the Earth, the map of the Earth, right? You have Greenland is right here. Across the ocean is Russia right here. And right going over Europe on the other side, on the east, is China. Geographically, Greenland will be what we need to consolidate ourselves as the empire in the West. And why am I talking or referring to World War III? Well, I'm going to tell you this. The president has been talking about Greenland for a long time now. And this goes back to what I was saying, that the president usually when he talks about something and he continues to talk about it is because he's giving us hints of what's going on. I've learned to read the president's mind. And he can't say exactly what's going on, but he continues to give us hints by usually repeating the same and the same and the same. And if you guys notice, he continues to talk about Greenland. And I promise you, this is already under work. I promise you, this is already under work because I've learned to read his mind. The president has recently proposed a massive increase in the US military budget to $1.5 trillion for the fiscal year of 2027. That is a jump of over 50% from the $901 billion approved by Congress for this year, for 2026. Think about this. Why is he asking to increase the military budget to 1.5 trillion, to expand the military, to make us stronger with the military? I believe it's because we are eventually going to war with Europe. Now, and I'm going to tell you why. Greenland belongs to Denmark. And the president has talked several times repeatedly about we need Greenland. We are willing. First, they said they were willing to pay the people of Greenland money so that they can vote in favor of us annexing Greenland. And then he just said today, literally just said today, if they don't accept the money, however it is, whatever we need to do, even if it's by military force, we will take we'll take Greenland. And I honestly believe we'll be going to war with Europe. If you take Greenland, you are violating the NATO agreement. We are part of NATO, but the president wants to take the US out of NATO. So the president is literally choosing to take us out of NATO, which goes back to, his slogan from the beginning, which is America First. Now, I'm just bringing you what I think. I'm just bringing you what I think is going to happen. You guys be the judge. You decide. Now, I just need you guys to hear me out. I just want you to hear me out. America First. What does America First mean? To me, personally, America First means we want to extend and consolidate ourselves as the empire in the West. We are already the empire in the West, but by taking out the president of Venezuela and being in charge of Venezuela right now, we are in charge of the oil. So that gives us additional power. He's selling the oil, so that's going to give us more money. Now, once he takes Greenland, literally all he has to do is take Cuba out. And I'm sure the Cubans will love to be part of the US. So if we get Cuba and Greenland, that definitely consolidates us as the power, the empire in the West. And so by choosing America First, which is his slogan, he's been talking about taking the United States out of NATO anyways. So he's choosing America First, or this continent, right? The American continent. And he's telling NATO to pretty much F off. He's saying, I got to think about my people of this part of the world. I'm pulling my country out of NATO, and we are going to become the biggest empire in the West. So F off. Or if we have to fight it out, then we'll fight it out. And I believe by taking Greenland, we eventually will go to war with Europe. Because if you think about it, if you take a country or annex a country that belongs to NATO, that means you're at war with Europe and all those nations that are part of NATO. And by the US pulling out of NATO, now we're not part of NATO. So who cares? We can just go in and take Greenland. And if Europe wants to go to war with us, then we'll just go to war with Europe. So I believe World War III is coming. I believe the president is not playing around. I know that usually when we hear the president say this and say that, we always say, oh, that's just the president being the president. But think about the past situations. He's been talking about Venezuela, Venezuela, Venezuela. And what happened? He went in and took out Maduro. And now we are in charge of Venezuela. And we are about to sell the oil so we can get money out of it and give some part of it to the Venezuelan people. But part of it is coming to the United States. And he's been talking about that. And he actually did it. I think we will be going to World War III, and we are going to go to war with Europe. Think about this. Why ask for an increase in the budget for the military for 2027? 1.5 trillion he's asking, he's requesting. So he's preparing our military for a war. The president is preparing our military for a war. Like he's preparing, building more, whatever he has to build, more armory, more planes, more helicopters, more ships. He is making our military way stronger because he knows that once we take Greenland, we will have a war with Europe. And he's telling Europe, F off, we are the new empire. I'm not part of NATO anymore. You guys used to be the empire before, but now it's 3 empires in the world. It's going to be Russia, China, and the United States. Think about this. The 3 biggest economies in the world, the United States, China, and Russia. Russia is going to be the empire in Europe eventually. China is going to be the empire in the East. And we are going to be the empire in the West. And by increasing the budget for the military, we are preparing ourselves, or the president is preparing ourselves to go to war with Europe because he is going to take Greenland. I don't think the president is playing around. I don't think he is. And I've learned this over the years. The president, when he continues to talk about something, is because it's already in the work. In his mind, he's already made up his mind of what he's about to do. And he will do it. Think about it. When he was running for president, he said he was going to take care of the illegals. He's doing that. He said he was coming to drain the swamp. He's been doing that to a certain point. And his slogan has always been America first, right? Make America great again. But think about it. How do you make America great again? You expand our territory. If we take Cuba, if we take Greenland, our country is now, it's the empire in the West. And by taking Greenland, that positions us as an empire to have more bases, more military presence, and we are literally right across from Russia and literally right across. We're overseeing both the other 2 empires in the world. So it's 3. Now the West will be watching the East and will be watching Europe. Think about that. I believe I figure out what's going on. I believe we will be going to World War III soon. When? I don't know, but in the near future, I believe the president has made up his mind already, and we are going to get Greenland one way or the other, whether they accept it and we pay them and they vote to say, yes, we're going to give you Greenland, or whether they don't accept it and we have to go to war with Europe or with Denmark. And if we go to war with one of the NATO countries, we have to go to war with all the NATO countries. Think about, does the math make sense? We're pulling the United States out of NATO. We're telling Europe, hey, who is the biggest ally you guys have in NATO? It's the United States. By pulling the United States out of NATO, now we have weakened, we're making Europe weaker, right? And by doing that, now we can go in and take Greenland, which will make us like the empire in the West, which we are already on our way there, but that will make us the empire in the West. And by doing that, you have now Europe is weak because we pulled out of NATO. So now we go against Europe. We take Greenland for us. We take Cuba for us. Now we have a bigger empire. And about Mexico, I don't know. He's been talking about going into the cartels, behind the cartels. I don't think he's interested in taking Mexico, but Cuba definitely. Because think about this, if we take Cuba on this side, now you have a front here. Somebody will try to attack on this side, meaning the other two empires. We have Cuba right there. Somebody tries to attack. We have the two oceans on both sides. And now if we get Greenland, we have Greenland looking at them straight across the ocean. Both of them, the two empires. This might not make sense to you. You might think that I'm going crazy. You might think I'm going crazy. You might think, what is this guy talking about? But if you think about it, I'm going to give you a little summary and I'm going to end the video right here. But I think I figured it out. I wish the president would give me an interview and I will ask him directly. Think about this. The president had been talking about taking Maduro. And what happened? He did. Usually when the president wants to do something, he will give us little hints, small clues, little hints. He won't say it completely, but eventually he will do it, which is what happened with Venezuela. Now, he's been talking about Greenland from the beginning. He's been talking about Greenland. He is about to pull the U.S. out of NATO. By taking the U.S. out of NATO, he is making Europe weaker, which means that now we can, by increasing the budget to 1.5 trillion for our military, we are making our military stronger and bigger. By doing that, now Europe is weaker. They don't have our support. Now they have us, against them. We take Greenland, and because we're taking Greenland, now we have to go to war with Denmark. And if we go to war with Denmark, we got to go to war with all those NATO countries from Europe, right? So now it's us against Europe. So that's a war right there. And then once we have Greenland, now we can watch over the other two empires, which is Russia and China. Think about this, guys. I actually believe the president has made up his mind. And we are going to take Greenland, whether it's by buying them or by force. Hopefully it's by buying them, so we don't have to go to war with Europe, because nobody wants to have a war. There could be so many casualties, so many bad things could happen. But I honestly think that I figured out that the president, he wants to take Greenland, and he's not joking about it. And that's why he's wanting to increase the budget for the military to 1.5 trillion. Because he wants to make our military stronger so we can take Greenland. And if we add Cuba to the mix, now we have the biggest empire. We have the big empire in the West. Think about this, guys. This is something that, just came to my mind. I was listening to Tucker Carlson kind of talking about we're going to World War III. And I started making the calculations in my mind. And I was like, oh, so I figured it out. We increase our budget by $1.5 trillion. We take Greenland. We pull the U.S. out of NATO. And by pulling the U.S. out of NATO, we make Europe weaker, which means that now we can go take Greenland if they decide that they're not selling England to. I'm sorry, I continue to say England. If they decide that they don't want to sell us Greenland, they don't want to sell it to us, well, we go and take it by force. And do you think Europe is? I'm sure they're gonna try and defend it. But if we go to war with Denmark because they don't want to give up Greenland, well, now we have to go to war with Europe, but Europe is weaker. So we have a bigger possibility of winning the war and still keeping Greenland. And that will make us way stronger as the strongest empire in the West. And that will make us the next, empire. And it's going to be 3 empires in the world, like I stated in my previous video. The next 3 empires are China, Russia, and the United States. It's just the way it is. Europe was once an empire, but Europe is way too weak right now. They're being overrun. And I think Europe has been overrun by sending a lot of migrants from other countries. And by us pulling out of NATO, that makes Europe way, way weaker. And I think the president will use that to our advantage and we will take Greenland. So be ready for World War III. And that's my thoughts. So if you guys like this video, go ahead, like, share, and subscribe. This is JC Diaz. I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.